Good afternoon and welcome back to the Simplicity or Mock Overwatch League playoffs. We are here with the last play-in match between Vancouver and Paris. Joined with Who Knows today, and how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Vancouver and Paris, two strong teams fighting for that spot in the playoffs. Both teams have a lot on the line, so really excited to see the game.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a redemption arc for Vancouver, in my opinion. A lot of teams said that they were pretty good starting out this season. They started off very strong, but then one of their star players, Fusion, got uh, uh, traded over to Dallas, and they kind of had a little bit of a slump as they were trying to fill that hole. But ever since like week 7 or 8, they've been bringing it back, and they've been really on the upwards trend, and they've been doing very well lately. And then Paris on the other in Atlantic Division, I would say they're definitely the underdogs in this match. They won versus Chengdu in their in the first set of play-in matches 3-2. So it was very close. And I would imagine that a lot of people are probably here predicting Vancouver. But we know that Paris, they're here for a reason. So they have to be able to prove here and now that they're here to play with the big boys, and that they're able to hang with these guys. And if they can't do that, well, then they're just going home.
Yeah, I mean, a lot on the line, as you said. Now, we are headed into Busan for our first map. Vancouver has picked this. So, what do you think we're going to see on this map?
So I think it just depends on where we go first. A lot of ball sig has been played in basically every single region. Um, I think you could play that at all 3 points here. However, I would imagine that these teams would probably opt a little bit more for a rush on something like Mecha Base. But I think the other two maps, we might see some double shield on Sanctuary. I know a lot of people consider double shield to be on the way out, and a lot of teams are still sticking to it as much as they can, though. So we might see that if that's what these teams are comfortable. But I think the teams that can really make this ball sigma work, that's just kind of the best comp at the moment. It just gives you so many options, and you have the ability to like cover so many of your weaknesses with these comps. And I
Yeah.
think going into Busan, this is going to be one of those interesting ones where I think depending on what comps we see is really going to set the tone for what kind of comps we're going to see the whole match.
Yeah, no, we're gonna start to get into this map. As you said, the ball sig always fun to see. A lot of chaotic fights with that back and forth. You have the two win conditions in the rally and the transcendence from both supports, and it's very back and forth fights. You can see the ebb and flow in real time. We will be on Sanctuary this first map, which, as you said, we can see either double shield or that ball sig. So in 5 seconds, we'll know what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and like you said, with those support ults, if these teams are opting for um, the Zen Brig, that gives you a really good rotating support ult that gives you like a lot of staying power in fights, and flipping the tempo back and forth between these two teams. And it looks like both teams, as he did hover the Mercy, and Vraja is on that Ashe, so it looks like we're going to be seeing the Ashe Mercy version of both of these comps. It's going to be a full mirror on both sides as he's TPing, or Anubis is going to TP out, but probably will switch over to the Ashe. Yep, well, don't quite get the TP, but we'll have to see which way these guys are going to want to go. Looks like Vancouver opting for just going down main, and Paris opting for some very passive control around the drum, and just kind of spreading around this map, trying to find some angles. Vancouver now pushing up onto the opposite side of the map of drum, and they're going to be playing this little hut here. And point has unlocked. Balake dropping very low, though. Might get taken out here if they're not careful. Is very low, and as he drops very low as well and does get taken out. Trevin also falls as well. Eve does trade out Headwing, but without that Mercy, they're not going to have very much healing. They're not going to have that damage boost for the Ashe, but Virage doesn't need it anyway. Kills Percy anyway. Scoop does die to Anubis as well. It's just the two Sigs dueling on point here. Eve just trying to sit as long as possible for his team to come back, is discorded, so it is going to be a little bit difficult for him to stay here, but does have that shield. And eBay trying to just stall this out for as long as possible. Scoob is back, though, onto Zada, and Zada just gets taken out immediately, and Scoob also takes out GT Wannabe as well, and that's just really good flip, really good patience from the side of Vancouver to be able to flip that back after losing so many people.
Yeah, I saw a lot of red on the point, but Vancouver playing to their weaknesses and strengths very well. Raha and Trev just going nuts on each of their DPS heroes, taking out most of what seemed like Paris. Now, Paris is in the weak zone here with their ultimates. They only have Hedwig's Pulse Bomb and coming up on Percy's Minefield. Percy going for the roll through Hedwig, goes for the sticky, finds the Valky Mercy. That's great timing for Hedwig. The Transcendence comes out from Balake as well. That's both of those ultimates taken out. Bob stalling the point, gets a great off angle here. GT Wannabe challenging Eve on the point. But Vraha picking off 2. Hedwig finds Balake as well as Vraha. Trev finding 2 as well. These DPS are going nuts. Trev finding Anubis and Scoop finding Hedwig for the last kill here. And Vancouver will hold yet another fight.
Yeah, and as he swapped over to the Lucio to get back quicker, it looks like he's going back to try and switch back to the Mercy. So there's gonna the Ashe Mercy, since the Ashe is going to be taxing, aren't going to be set up immediately. So Paris can walk in here for free, and looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. GT Wannabe just trying to take early real estate on the point, try to force the issue a little bit, but Eve comes to meet him, but is in a little bit of trouble. But GT Wannabe, they're just trading abilities right now. GT Wannabe does use the grasp. Flux comes out from Eve onto 2 tanks on point, and that's just really good. But even though Eve dies on point, Viraja finds 2 more. Rez does come out on GT Wannabe, but Scoob is here as well, and that's just going to be enough cleanup here for the side of Vancouver. It's just be very clean. Trev cleans up GT Wannabe and Anubis on the back end, and that Rez will come out onto Scoob as well.
Yeah, Vancouver's in the hole here. They're kind of, excuse me, Paris is in the hole here. They're on the back end of this. Pulse Bomb comes out, actually, from Trev, not finding the pick onto Percy. Paris taking this. Hedwig wins the 1v1 onto Trev. Percy going for an engage, rolls through, just touching the point in time. The lift comes out onto Eve, finding his counterpart, and Percy will finish off that kill. The minefield from Scoop onto the point, met with Zada's Transcendence. Hedwig finding Scoop. Balake throwing an orb directly into Hedwig's skull. Paris will cap the point, but Vancouver is still in it for now. Anubis finding Balake on the back end. Paris taking this fight, 99% for Vancouver.
Yeah, and just a little bit, as he is getting pressured here in spawn, Percy might have gone a little bit too deep, though. He's going to be wanting to get out of here. He is going to get taken out of here, maybe wanted to get it away instead of pile driving there instead, but Percy will be back quickly, though. It is the ball, so Vancouver can start to walk up a little bit without their backline being threatened too much, but they are coming up on both their support ults, and they are just going to put Bob on point just to press the issue a little bit. He is shooting at the side a little bit. Zada does get taken out. Ashe Mercy getting zoned out by that Bob angle really well. Transcendence does come out. Trev did find Zada, and then Muhiki trying to res this does actually get the res up, but trades the life for it, and Zada just dies immediately. Body block onto the Bob, so he can't contest point. Very good play there, but he is just shooting down, so might actually get a few. Does find Trev. A little bit of a mistake there, but the point is going to flip back over to Vancouver, and it's just Hedwig here just trying to stall this out as long as possible. Finally gets taken out by Balake, and see if, I don't think anyone else can touch in here. Closest one is GT Wannabe, and that's going to be 100 to 51%. First round going to Vancouver.
Vancouver, their DPS looking very scary, as well as Balake on that Zenyatta, just clicking heads, clicking bodies, rolling through Paris. If you're Paris, you need to wake up right now. I think they're behind in the fact that Vancouver's just making the plays that they aren't. Like, Paris is going through the motions of the rotations and stuff, but Vraha, Treb, and Balake cleaning up really hard. Scoob going for those engages into the backline. Yeah,
and it looks like Paris is just, they don't quite have the confidence to actually walk forward and finish off fights when they're up ahead. If we go look back at the first fight on Sanctuary, they got a lot of picks, but they just failed to all push into Eve, and Eve was able to stall long enough for his team to come back, and they never even capped the point. Now, we don't see any swaps over. Both teams still sticking with the Ashe Mercy version. Both teams trying to go towards the theater here. But GT Wannabe does take the middle high ground here. Engage comes out from Percy, but is sustained. Balak's still pretty low, but isn't feeling too upset about that. Trev does find Zada too, so that's gonna be no Discord. Does get res, but Muhiki again trading their life, and this is they really need to make sure that they get value with this Discord. But Percy finds Trev, so that's a good start. And GT Wannabe and Zada are on point, flipping for, and then they do find Eve as well, and Balak as well falls to Anubis. But Vraja gets Anubis on the back end too, but that might be able to get res, but also Hedwig gone too deep as well. But luckily that trade onto Azzy might mean that Vancouver can only walk up a little bit here. But with Percy falling as well, it's a lot less pressure on your Zen. So they are going to be waiting for the respawns here. Trev does get discorded, recall forced out onto the side. Vancouver just walking up main. Vraja does take the high ground. Has a really good angle on Zada here. Engage comes from Scoob onto Muhiki, but Hedwig finds Balak in the backline. Muhiki dropping very, very low. Does end up sustaining, and without that Discord, it's been very difficult. Trev does find Zada though, so it's equal on both sides. And Eve getting poked out here by the Tracer and the ball here. Vraja gets taken down, but the pulse bomb is canceled from Hedwig dying, and it's back and forth. Rez is coming out from both sides. Valk, but Mines and Bob are on the point, and now Mines from Scoob are here as well. This might be able to clean up the fight finally. Trev finds Anubis again, but Valk comes out from Muhiki, and Percy finds Vraja, and Paris is still turning this around, and GT Wannabe gets taken out, but Paris is still sustaining. That's really good. They didn't even invest that much compared to what Vancouver invested here either, and they were ticking up their percentage the entire time.
Yeah, that's devastating for Vancouver fans, and as well as Vancouver teams. Paris just playing that very slow, back and forth. I think Vancouver needs to play a little bit faster in order for them to win this. They need to win every single fight for the rest of the map in order to come out on top of this point. Zada does have the Transcendent. Scoob goes for an engage, and Trev and Vraja find Zada and Hedwig. The res comes out from Muhiki, but they're still down their Tracer. Bob comes out onto the point for Vancouver, but met with the Transcendence from Zada. The lift comes out, but it's rocked. Huge rock from GT Wannabe. His own flux comes out, met with the Transcendence from Balak. Trev finding Muhiki on the point. Vancouver caps as well, and they look to be winning this fight. Balak finding Zada, and Trev finding Hedwig. GT Wannabe jumps off the map for the fast regroup. Scoob moving off Percy.
Yeah, it was a really good play from the DPS, and they were just able to open that up. I'm not even really sure how that happened. It's just Zada and Hedwig just both died at the same time, and that's just not really what you want when you're starting in here. Luckily, they did have 99%, so they do have some time to regroup and try and retake this. And Scoob just trying to take the high ground. Passive positioning here from Vancouver. They want to let them come in a little bit. Percy coming in, does get some boops, mines the point. This is the slam, but the Eve's gonna have to drop the point to try and do something, but gets booped off the point. Trev does find Zada as well, but does get res. Remember, you can't res environmental killed target, so Paris is gonna have the advantage in here, and they're just trying to step on point. Scoob doesn't mind a point, but Hedwig and Anubis find Balak and Azzy, and both supports down. Hedwig also finds Vraja as well. Scoob trying to trade back as much as he can, but only finds Zada, and they're gonna have to touch the point here if they even want a chance. But they does finally get the touch here. Eve's back, but not really close to anything that would actually help them out here. And really have to hope that Azzy gets this tag in here and gets the touch point. Does get the touch, but they really need Vraja here because he's getting so close with his Bob. But even then, I don't even know what that would do. And Paris flipping it back 100 to 59, and that's the second point going to Paris.
CZ and Hedwig is looking mighty fine right now, just taking name after name on Paris. Now, we are headed into Mecha Base, which, as you suggested at the beginning of this map, is a popular rush map, and looks like we will be seeing some comp changes, but what do you think of this so far?
So it looks like Rhinoarissa here, a little bit interesting, but the Doom Reaper kind of a little bit of a flash of the past back in the Season 2 Grand Finals meta. But with the Rhinoarissa, you know, you have a lot of shields, you have a lot of staying power, and on the other side you have the Rhine Sig, so you also have shields, we also have the Flux as well. It's going to be the Doom Reaper here and we'll have to see if they're able to make that work effectively or not. Trevor's really going to be trying to look for these backline engages, and Anubis onto the McCree, so that's the other difference. And then also the BAP as well. Kind of a little bit of a mess here, but Hedwig trying to get a lot of damage. Percy does fall early. The punch does find Hedwig, though, and the lamp is just too far forward. That's just really clean. 4 in the kill feed for Eve, and yes, you can just turn your DPI up to 160,000 and spin around in circles. And that's going to be a really clean fight. Eve already up to 70% to that shatter.
Vancouver instantly taking that fight, just Wing into the enemy team. We will see a comp change. Percy off the Reinhardt onto the ball. Hedwig off of the Reaper onto Tracer. And the supports did change a little bit too. I'm not too sure, but Scoop and the rest of his team pushing into the backline of Paris, taking out 3 members. The point is being stalled. Anubis finding Trev, but it doesn't matter. The advantage is there for Vancouver. Braha taking out Anubis, avenging his counterpart Trev. And Vancouver will hold strong here.
Yeah, really good play, really good decision making, and maybe a little bit of not respecting the fact that they are in a rush comp here, but to be able to push forward when they knew that a lot of people were in the back, and they're just going all the way forward, but Eve does get stunned out of his shatter. He's not going to get that one back, but Zada's in a really bad spot. Did not defuse the immortality field, but meanwhile, Percy and Hedwig have just flipped the point back, so they are going to have to come back and deal with this, but GT Wannabe still low. Scoob probably didn't quite get the memo that his team was going back to point. A few percent. Looks like going to be around 16% here, but the high noon comes out from Anubis as well. Doesn't find anyone, but it does force the beat from Valakay. Just for good measure there. Eve pushing forward in the GT Wannabe with Scoob and Valakay as well. And Trev is trying to get Zada as well. Eve charging in, and Vraja does end up getting Zada as well. And that's going to be a really good economy push. They didn't even use that many ults there, and Percy switches over to the Orisa, so they're on double shield now.
Yeah, Vancouver just playing extremely fast. They have the Lucio, so they can afford it, and then the Moira for the mid-fight sustain. The Bongo does come out, rushing in, but met with GT Wannabe's flux to stop the pressure. Just resources taken out, but Percy finding the pick onto Braha, as well as Zeta picking off Valakay. We do have Hedwig taking the point, but Trev finding Muhiki. The rest of Paris is low, and Eve and Trev will just shred through Paris's roster. Now collapsing back on the point for the final 10% of this map. And it will be Vancouver.
Yeah, last minute swaps are trying to get the touch here, rally out of spawn for the extra movement speed. GT Wannabe's really going to want to try and get in here, but a boop off, but gets denied as well. Valakay maybe got a little bit more than he bargained for there, but Anubis does get the touch, and Vancouver maybe in a little bit of an awkward spot now, but Raja is punching here, and charge comes in from Eve, but no one touches the point. It's just ticking down, and Vancouver is going to take the first map, Busan, 2-1.
Yeah, Vancouver showing up their alpha side on that last map. Eve on the Reinhardt, just devastating Paris. And we see he's just shredding through the enemy team. Those recent changes, the 85 damage per swing, just crazy.
I think maybe Paris, when originally they were on that rush, they were also on a rush, and they switched to ball. I don't think they quite knew how they wanted to deal with that comp, because they kept trying to force point, and they thought that would get Vancouver to turn around and come back to point, but Vancouver played it smart, and they just decided they knew that if their ball and their tracer are going back to cap the point, they can just push forward into the rest of their team, clean it up, and then go back to point. You lose a few percentage, but you also end up buying more time in the long run because they have to wait for the regroups, and you also build more ultimates anyway. So it's just really good play from Vancouver to recognize that the point is not as important as taking the fight. And Paris, they're going to have to try and figure out what's going to work against Vancouver. It really looked like the only time Vancouver or Paris was actually able to get something done was off the back of Hedwig, who was doing very well in the tracer on downtown, and occasionally Anubis would get picks on Ashe, but I think also Anubis is getting overshadowed by Vraja as well, and it's just going to be, they're going to have to figure out something to try and make sure either to enable their DPS to do better, or they're going to have to figure out how to counter Vancouver a little bit more.
Yeah, we will be headed into map 2 shortly, which will be any hybrid map in the game that Paris decides. They have a lot of options here. You could pick for a more dive-oriented Numbani, or you could sin a little bit and just lock in the King's Row. What do you think we're going to be seeing from Paris here?
Oh, I honestly, after that performance, seeing how strong Vancouver is on those rush comps, I would want to avoid Kings Row like the plague. So we'll have to see what they end up picking, but they might pick Kings Row because maybe they have a pocket strategy as well. They're still thinking about it, but also the fact that all the maps are available for playoffs, it just really allows you to have such a wide range, and it's going to reward those teams that are able to be solid on all sorts of maps. But also, teams might have their pocket pick maps that maybe might not have been in the map pool that they can just bust out, and they have a really good strat and they can play it really well. I know that our team Hangzhou, we had a few maps that when they weren't in the map pool, we were a little sad because we were just really good on those maps. But we'll have to see what Paris ends up picking. And I think just going back to, uh, I think Vancouver, they just, as a team, looked to have just a much better handle on the comps they were playing. It sometimes looked like Paris didn't know when they had the advantage and they weren't able to ever push the advantage. They were getting picks from Anubis and Hedwig, but the only times, like there were some fights where they might have had a slight advantage, but they weren't able to leverage that into a full team wipe, like Vancouver's doing, where Vancouver, they will either force out someone or they will be applying pressure from all different kinds of angles. And then once they force abilities, they start hard pushing into that person. We are going to be going to Blizzard World. So this is a map where you can play all sorts of different comps. You can play the rush, you can play double shield, you can play the ball sig as well. But we'll have to again, we'll have to see what Paris whips out here to see if they can bring it back in this series. Because I think Vancouver's looking very strong right now.
Yeah, Blizzard World, always an entertaining map to watch. You can pretty much play any decent comp in the game here. Uh, Lots of high ground to take, but also you can just brawl it out on the low ground too. That's the path the payload takes. Um, we're just waiting for Paris to ready up, and we will be heading into the map. I would actually be interested to see some double shield. I know, but I think double shield on this specific map is always interesting to watch.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think double shield is something that can work very well here. And I know you like playing double shield. You're I know that's not a popular take, but it definitely is a good map for double shield. You have a lot of areas where you can just fortify one angle, and we'll have to see what they end up picking here. About 15 seconds until we actually can see what they're going to pick. But, I also would like to see some ball sig. I think it's very entertaining to watch. But in my opinion, I don't think either teams are really getting the maximum value out of the ball sig when they were running it. It looked kind of like their ball and their sig or the ball group and the sig group were kind of disconnected from each other. Didn't quite play off of each other as much as they could have. And Vancouver, they are on the double shield. So like you said, we might be getting some double shield here. We're gonna see the Echo Ash at the moment, and Balake is gonna be on that Zen. So this is a little bit of a slower kind of. This is gonna be, you want to hold down angles and you want to try to keep them at arm's length. It's actually gonna be a complete mirror from the side of Paris as well. It's kind of interesting because you don't always see the Zen. The Brig just gives so much brawling power. So seeing the Zen is just a lot more shield pressure and a lot more damage. We'll have to see which team ends up managing their abilities better. Faraja getting some early poke here. Just scouting is going to see that there is an imposter on the other team. Cosplaying as Vancouver here. And already Zada taking very low. Percy is pushing up here into the main, but the rest of the team is pushing right side. Bull does come out, doesn't find anything from Vancouver. And they are going to give up Eagles and set up on point instead.
Yeah, this point hold. Yep. I usually prefer it myself. It's Eagles. If they stage correctly, Paris could take it easily. Scoob using the Eve picking off Percy as counterpart there will be no core left for Paris to push with, as that is taken down. Both Sigmas rock each other, but Trev finding Anubis will certify that this is Vancouver's hold. Paris will have to fall back and group up, but for the time being, Vancouver is looking really strong. They're ahead in the ult banks. Both Baptistes have window here. You know, if we could see a coordinated push with both Baptistes mirroring the window, I think it would be really interesting to see. Pull comes out, Rock misses, but Paris is still looking to push up here. Pull will come out on the other side. Vancouver taking the advantage, forcing out the lamp. Bob comes out from Hedwig, but the IMAX Theater will just completely roll through that Bob. Paris losing Hedwig as well. Their own window finds Azzy from GT Wannabe, but I think Trev just taking this complete control. Muhiki will find Scoop. Vancouver is still +1, now +2, finding Muhiki. Paris just fighting on the point, counting their losses, finding Trev though, and forcing the Transcendence from Balake. So this is a pretty good fight from Paris here. But they're not done yet. The Bongo comes out. Eve will kill him, but GT Wannabe with his own flux will kill Balake. Braha now on the Sig as well, filling the gap. Scoop. Scoop is back now though. Braha missing their flux with the copy. This was an extremely expensive push for both sides, but I think Paris is at a loss here. Scoop finding Muhiki on the exit, and Vancouver will hold strong with only a minute and a half remaining.
Yeah, and this, honestly, after that fight, looks like it might be a full hold here. Vancouver's still ahead in the ult economy. They have both their tank ults, and they are going to have Bob as well. And Hedwig is on the Tracer now, is going to have that Pulse Bomb, might be able to force out the Immortality field, but we're going to have to... Paris is going to be rotating through Eagles again. We'll have to see how they decide to take this. Hedwig getting into the backline onto Balake, uses the Pulse Bomb, but doesn't find anything. Raja, I thought for a second, was going to just walk right into that, but Trev finds Hedwig as well, and that's a really good start. Only a minute left, and they lost their Tracer, and Nubis falls to Raja on the side as well. The lamp comes out, and now Vancouver can walk forward and try and clean up these kills. It looks like that's what Scoob wants to do. He is walking forward, and really good dynamite from Trev. And they are just going to slowly clean up this fight, which is really good. The more time they can burn off here while getting these picks is going to make it a lot more likely of this first point hold. It looks like that's all they're gonna get. But as he does drop by Hedwig, that is not what you want to see after Vancouver. But they might still be able to hold this out. Balake is getting really close to this trance. He's got 82%. He might be able to get that. Might be the saving grace here for Vancouver. But they go aggressive with the Bongo, but Eve dies, and put Bob into the backline, shooting in the big flux here from the side of Scoob, and that's a really good combo there. And Vancouver realizing that even though they're down their main heals, they can still just pull the trigger on their ults first and still win this. Percy might be able to get the touch here on the Wrecking Ball, but is going to get taken out immediately. Raja does copy it as well. The IMAX Theater comes out, and Zada is going to get taken out. And now it looked like Paris had an opening there, picking off Azzy, but I think they got too lazy, and Vancouver just rounded that corner really aggressively with their ult and were able to immediately burn down Percy. And that's exactly what you want to look for with when you want a full hold here.
Vancouver looks extremely sharp. I would hate to be Paris at the moment. You're going to have to do a complete 180 with your strategy, play a lot faster as opposed to Vancouver playing slowly but quick rotations. You know, I think that's what Vancouver has that Paris doesn't. And as well as you saying earlier that Paris, they don't really know when they're up or down. They were 2 minutes into the round, they were down 2 or 3 members and were still using ults. So I think Paris just needs to focus up into this round and see if they can full hold, force out a draw.
Yeah, and especially with full hold, it's very important how you use your ults as the defenders. And Vancouver being able to win fights by committing less is really kind of what was the nail in the coffin. Eve and Scoob are hovering the dive tanks right now, so we'll see if that ends up happening. Viraja is on the Genji as well. Might get some sinning here in the late evening, but nah, they're just baiting it for a little bit, and they are going to be back onto the they're going to TP out on Sim, just get that little bit of extra distance. and to avoid any sort of ball boop from that side. Um, but it is going to be complete mirrors again. Both teams running the exact same comp. Pull comes out from Paris, doesn't find anything. Vancouver just waiting for their shields to come back for them to walk up. Taking quite a bit of damage though, but Scoob did get a pretty big shield from his grasp. Really good pull from Percy, but nothing ends up happening. But a really good pull from Eve as they walk up, forces the Immortality Field early. This is really not good if you're Paris. Valakay is a little bit too close though, it gets taken out. Really good pull, but another big pull, a big sticky, but Anubis has Raj's number right in the sky. But Trev finds Mubiki, but it should be Paris cleaning this up here. And they are going to be trying to push forward and grab Trev. Trev is just trying to take as little time to die as possible. And it was a sloppy hold. They did get the lamp forced out early, but they were able to deny the echo damage when Vraja went aggressive over the top, and that's what ended up helping them win that.
Yeah, I think that just came down to Balakay making a positioning mistake, or Scoob just not shielding him, helping him rotate to the right side. Looks like Vancouver will be taking this high ground here up on Eagles. Paris looking to match the rotation, but they're kind of just walking back and forth on point. I would like them to see Percy take the high ground behind them and GT Wannabe taking an off angle, but Vancouver just gets all this poke for free, taking out these resources, being able to cherry pick their engage. Big dynamite though, coming out from Trev, generating a lot of ult charge, or from Hedwig, excuse me. So he has the Bob, as opposed to Trev with only 67%, but looking to make a huge engage, pops the window and the lamp, met with the Bonko as well as the window from the opposing team. But both Echoes trading. Hedwig finds Azzy and Braha taking out the Bob. It's Vancouver's disadvantage for now, and they will be forced back by Paris. Paris holding strong with a minute and 45 seconds left to go.
Yeah, I think Vancouver not quite taking as much of an advantage as they could with the map rotations. They take Eagles, but after that, then what do? They drop down back to the low ground, which doesn't end up actually netting you a whole lot. If they decided to try and flip the map entirely and maybe try and take the back high ground by going all the way around to the second point, but if Flux already, Vraja finds Anubis, and Lamp does come out, but Percy dies as well from Trev. Really good intro here, but Hedwig does take out Vraja as well, and the Flux has come out. But Balakay with a really good Transcendence is going to deny all that damage. Scoob finds both supports, finds GT Wannabe as well. Really good play here as he just finishes off Hedwig in the backline. And that's, you know, Paris had to play that perfectly, and unfortunately they just couldn't quite play every single fight perfectly. And it is going to be Vancouver taking the second map, taking a very quick 2-0 in the series. Probably not quite unexpected, given how the predictions looked. But, you know, I think Paris, they really have to figure something out here. And it might be a little bit too much, but there's a lot. This is their last chance in this entire tournament. This map is either their last map, or they're going to keep prolonging that.
Paris, you gotta wake up. You know, headed into our 5-minute halftime. At the other side, we will be seeing a 2CP map. And although it is every map in the rotation, we are cutting out Horizon Lunar Colony as well as Paris. And looks like I think that's, yeah, Paris will be swapping a member of their roster, just making a substitution. Be interesting to see who for. But both of these teams, they do look strong, but Vancouver just looks that extra bit stronger. Their rotation's a bit sharper, their ultimate economy better. What do you think, Cesian, heading into halftime?
I think that, you know, just echoing kind of some of the stuff we said earlier, Paris doesn't quite understand like where their advantages are. And I think also Paris might be not respecting, especially on that double shield comp, might not be respecting as like all this damage, because we saw Percy standing out in the open with no shield and just trying to tank as much damage with Fortify. But even if you have Fortify, if you get Discord and everyone's shooting at you, you're still going to burn. It doesn't matter if you have that damage reduction. And I think Paris maybe not respecting some of their some of the damage coming out from Vancouver, especially when it is coming from that Discord that Balakay is getting a lot of value out of. But also, I think just the ability usage, just overall, Vancouver is getting more value with their abilities, especially their pulls. We keep seeing good pulls, I think, coming out from Percy, but either it ends up being meaningless damage because they can't actually capitalize off of any abilities forced or capitalize off of the low health bars, or there's just not follow up. Whereas on the other hand, you have one thing we saw Vancouver do on their attack on Blizzard World, where they were able to, where they got a really big pull, they were able to sticky bomb the pull as well, so everyone got immediately bursted down to down like 100 or 200 HP. But at the same time, Vancouver was holding the W key into Paris. That's kind of what you need to do if you have the ability advantage. And to get the most value out of your pull, you have to make sure that if you force abilities, if you get their health bars low, that you're actually capitalizing off of that rather than just poking. And that's what a lot of teams do with Orisa Sig is they'll just pull above the shield, maybe get a dynamite, maybe sticky a target, and then both teams will heal up, wait for their abilities to come back, and it's back to the drawing board. And it looks like CBT for Zada, so it is going to be a support. Um, it is going to be a support swap here, and Zada was playing the flex support, I do believe. So interesting. It'll be interesting to see what that ends up meaning. They, I'm not exactly sure what their supports play, but Paris might have been running a double flex support lineup. And maybe they want to, maybe CBT will play Lucio. Actually, let me just check his career profile real
Yeah, a
quick.
quick peek at the career profile shows that he looks to be a Brigitte specialist, playing a lot of a lot of that hero as opposed to Zeta. Doesn't look like they play as much. So maybe Paris, maybe they're gonna try and force the Brig Bap double shield, which would be interesting. We did see the Bap Zen, which is more of a ranged poke sort of one, but if you have that Brig, it allows a lot of brawl potential, a lot of healing, a lot of group healing. Um, Paris will be picking Volskaya Industries for map 3. They will be looking to win this point or win this map or draw, or else they're out of the entire tournament. All of their chances of redemption squandered. But will they be able to take the reverse sweep back here? That would be a heck of a story.
Yeah, and that's honestly, I always talk about this. The hardest part of a reverse sweep is that first map. So they're either going to go out here, or maybe this, if they win this map, if they draw this map, that might give them enough life to keep fighting and keep pushing forward. And with CBT moving in and maybe potentially coming into play Brig, we might see some of the Brigs in with the or the Ball Sigma. We might see, like you said, the double shield, the Bat Brig. But because I do think that is the stronger version. So we'll have to see what they end up doing here. And it is going to be very it is going to be very interesting to see actually what changes, see if this is a change that Paris needs, because maybe this is their secret weapon, and they're going to come out and they're going to win this map. But I would hope that um, this substitution is what they need, and we'll we'll have to see what they end up playing.
Yeah, we are headed into game here. Volskaya Industries. We see a lot of snipers played on
Traveling
this
to
map, so
Volskaya
maybe we'll see a
Industries.
little bit of deviation from the normal comps
Initiating
here with
match.
those snipers picked. We will be able to see shortly. But also, lots of variants. You can play the close range, play the first choke, or you can play all the way in the back of the map if you're on defenders first. Vancouver, they will get the defenders advantage for their first round, but
Ready
looking at
for
the
battle.
comps, not sure if this is just some shenanigans, but Ball Zarya will be what Vancouver is picking. Eve still debating a little bit, but looks to be walking out of the spawn. No, he will be swapping to Sigma, so I just got debated a little bit. Both
Yeah.
teams looking for this
Spicy.
Ball Sig Ash Tracer with the Zen Mercy.
Yeah, the interesting thing is CBT is coming in not playing something different. So maybe Zada, or maybe Zada just wasn't cutting it, and coach decided to sub him out, or maybe Zada decided to be subbed out. But DBT coming in here, actually, it is going to be the Brig Zen. So this is definitely a very good comp here if they are able to pull it off correctly. Trev is lurking into the backline, in their backline right now. It's going to be starting to shadow them a little bit. Scoob coming in for Pile Driver, doesn't find anything though. Gets boot back and almost burned out immediately. Wow, that was a lot of damage. Scoob is... Oh, but they do find Percy. Percy getting a little bit too much, and Fraja finds Hedwig as well. That's not how I thought that was going to play out. Scoob healing up. And now Vancouver can slowly start to walk up. They did find Muhiki isolated here. Scoob and Trev are going to take him out very easily. And now Paris is stuck in this room above the Mega. And, oh, but Anubis does find Trev. That's a good start. And that Tracer will be coming back. And that's Tracer and the ball out as well from CBT. So now Vancouver going to have to play a little bit slower.
Yeah, Paris
and wait for these respawns.
Paris doing a great job clearing those angles. They force Vancouver into a corner here. The two members that got picked will be the faster members, but Anubis finding Eve, that's exactly what you want. That core member, the only tank remaining. Scoob taking CBT, however. Paris does have the res, but picks up GT Wannabe as well. Both Sigmas now down. Vancouver does not have the spawn advantage. Muhiki picking up CBT. But Scoob finding CBT again. Scoob has been so instrumental in winning these fights. He just picked 3 members, 4 members, and Vancouver will hold strong because of the valiant effort of Scoob.
Yeah, it was a nice try from Paris. I don't know if you saw that ball tech that Percy did on that wall, but that was pretty cool. It was ended up deleting Eve immediately. But yeah, off the back of Scoob playing really well, being able to get that Zen, and then even after the Zen got rezzed, the Zen was getting pocket, and he still was able to kill him through the pocket. That's just incredible. Scoob going for another engage as well. Just a soft engage here, but Pulse Bomb does come out. It is eaten by GT Wannabe. Pulse Bomb does come out, but doesn't find anything. But the dupe onto the Tracers come out as well. Raj on the low ground probably doesn't exactly want to be here, waiting for the coach gun to come back up, I'd imagine. Does retake the high ground. Mines on point from Percy, but the Dynamite is going to clear most of them. And Bob on point is going to... Actually, he does get booted off the point, and the trance comes out from CBT to try and win this for them. But now the counter trance from Balakate, and now Vancouver's going to be able to push their advantage really well here, but doesn't that much. Actually, no, as I say that, CBT and Muhiki both died to Trev and Scoob. Now GT Wannabe's next. Eve does die here at the end, but might be able to get rezzed here. Azzy looking for it, and yes, does get the res off. And Hedwig will get zoned out by Trev, so Trev can't deny that. And also gets taken out as well.
So strong. They just keep on winning these fights where they're at a disadvantage. Paris, only 2 ults that they'll gain mid-fight coming into this last minute of round 1. They have to win this, or else they're knocked out of the tournament. You know, Percy already looking for a back angle, but Vancouver just not on that right side of the map. Scoob setting up behind. He has those mines, able to clear out a massive area. Hedwig blinking onto the point, forcing the recall. Trev matching him. Percy, with this engage, does get booped away with the coach gun from Braha. Just a bunch of staging right now. Hedwig forcing the point, you know. They will have to touch Braha, hitting a huge headshot. Minefield will come out from Scoob onto the high ground, forcing them down into that server room where the Mega Health Pack is. But Trev finding CBT and Scoob from the dead, picking up GT Wannabe that will be rezzed. But Braha and Azzy, the Battle Mercy, taking out Anubis. A big flux will be their last hope, but GT Wannabe not... He will be able to find both his counterpart and Azzy. Vancouver's last hope in full holding will be squandered as Paris will barely win the first point.
Yeah, Vancouver gonna get these cleanups here, so a little bit of a bittersweet end to that, but Anubis does find Vraja, but they are gonna get the fast... Actually, no, Vraja's actually gonna get the slow spawn. Did die a little bit too late. And yeah, GT Wannabe finding really good value out of his flux there, and I think actually as he ended up accidentally flying into range, that's not exactly what he wanted to be looking for. But Eve playing the low ground here might get pressured out here with the mines, but Percy drops immediately, and Anubis gets taken out by Scoob as well. Pulse Bomb comes out on Vraja, but with already 2 down, I don't think that's exactly what you want to look for. Valakay actually gets a trance forced out. I don't know if he needed to do that. I don't think they were going to push on that. But Hedwig forcing the trance, not too upset about that. And it's going to be back to the drawing board for Paris. They have 2 minutes left, and they have that copy, but that's about it.
Yeah, Paris, only the copy, as you said, but Vancouver with lots of zoning ultimates. Trev, if he can land the sticky bomb on either one of Paris's supports, that could be huge in shutting down their push. Paris just staging on this top right platform. Scoob will make an engage, but gets rocked, as well as Percy engaging in the background as well. Instantly discorded, but Trev finding Hedwig. That's a great pick. Muhiki does have the res, but it's in... I don't think they can res that. Oh, but he pops the Valkyrie to pop Hedwig in the backline. Eve being forced onto this point. His shield will break. Hedwig finding Valakay. That's a great pick. The copy will come out. Percy finding Eve. Paris coming into this fight with no advantages, now taking the upper hand. But as I say that, CBT dying to Trev, and as he reses Eve, just correcting all those mistakes that happened, and it's an all-out brawl here. Vancouver taking the upper hand on the low ground. Anubis not able to generate a flux in time to use, and Vancouver will hold strong. Anubis, the last member, being picked off by Trev, and Hedwig just forced in the backline, taken out by the Battle Mercy yet again.
Yeah, that was looking good for Paris out of nowhere. You know, Hedwig dying in that backline was a little bit awkward, but then Muhiki popping that Valkyrie to res that actually ended up netting a lot of value, because Valakay did drop down to the low ground and they were able to get that pick. However, unfortunately, they weren't able to transfer it into a fight win because they weren't able to protect their supports through the entirety of that fight, and CBT got picked off. And then also Anubis not getting as much value as he would like out of that copy, but is under the Ash now, so CBT finds Vraja, though. That's a really good pick, and a really good pulse bomb from Hedwig finds both Azzy and Valakay as that res is going off. It's a really good start from Paris. Mines are on point, so is Bob, and he is shooting at Percy, but Trev does find CBT in the backline, does get resed as well, and Vraja finds TD1 and Muhiki. Trev finds CBT. Are they actually going to turn this back? Valakay finds Percy as well, and Hedwig dueling Valakay, but the trance is there to save Azzy as well, and they're going to be able to stall this long enough. And I think they did it. I think Trev and Vraja were able to get enough picks to actually have Vancouver pull this back. Eve onto the hog, and it's just up to Hedwig. He gets discorded and taken out. And Percy is actually not going to get the touch on the point. Wow, that was really good play from Vraja and Trev to just bring that back from sheer disaster.
Yeah, just complete insanity from the DPS on Vancouver. They've been holding strong this entire series, and I think they're one of the biggest reasons why Vancouver is looking like such a strong team. Just so much on their shoulders. We're headed into the attack. All that Vancouver needs is to win the first point and 1 tick on the second point, and they will take the whole series and knock Paris out. Paris, they're on their last life. They need to come back right now.
Yeah, however, I think if you're Paris, considering where you were about to get full held on first point. Capping that first point is not that bad. I mean, it is historically, if you get a good hold on first point, it is sometimes difficult to actually get enough momentum to actually cap second point as well. So not quite completely lost for Paris, definitely an uphill battle, but they definitely still do have a win condition, or at least a draw condition, because if they're able to make this work, Percy and GT Wannabe are on Rhine Sigma. This is a very weird comp, and Anubis and Hedwig are on Double Sniper, but we'll have to see if this ends up working out. They're going to be playing on point, and Eve and Scoob, they're on the Ball Sig, and they're just on the standard Trace, or the Ash version, excuse me. And Hedwig finds Azzy first, though. That's a really good pick, but there's gonna have to be a lot of those if you're gonna really pull this back. And my question is, I don't understand why they're running Rhine here, because Percy doesn't really have a goal here, especially into this Ball Sigma. And Engage comes out from Scoob onto the high ground, and it's just Percy is Percy has no point in this comp with the standpoint on point. Anubis does find Balak though, and that's a decent start. And Rez does come out as well. Engage comes from Scoob. Doesn't find anything. They're all just living for a very long time there. CBT's discorded and might get taken out here, but Scoob gets engaged on by Percy. But this is just very, very slow poking right now. Eve takes a rock to the face. Another dynamite does miss. And
this is very weird so far.
yeah.
Both teams just kind of sitting around, but Scoob will be the one to take the initiative, finds Anubis, immediately rezzed by Muhiki. But Balak finding CBT on the point. That's why you want to play the high ground and not just have your Ryan and Baptiste sitting there. Piledrive will be blocked by the shield, but without CBT, they will have no ultimate. They could have used that to turn the fight. Muhiki will be using the Valkyrie to try and win, but Graha and Balak just clicking heads. Graha finding GT Wannabe as well, and Scoop picking up Hedwig. It's just Percy remaining. Last-ditch effort charge, but Trev will be the one to kill him. And Vancouver, all they need is one tick, and they will take this map and this entire match.
And they're coming up on some pretty big ults. They have Bob, they have Trance. They're gonna have be close to that Valkyrie as well. And Trev's gonna be able to also get a good pick with this pulse bomb too if he finds a good one, or at least force the immortality field. And you're close to ults on Paris, but not really anything of any value. Anubis does get taken out very, very low. He is just barely surviving. Bob does come out on point. Really good pulse bomb does force out the lamp here, and the Bob in the backline, this might just be it. Vancouver just walking forward into them, just everyone's just falling to the ground, and that's gonna be Vancouver winning 3-0, and they are gonna be moving on out of the play-ins, and I do believe they're going, I think Guangzhou, but I'm not entirely sure. They're either gonna be playing Guangzhou or Paris, or New York, excuse me, but it was just kind of, I think Vancouver just outclassed in every aspect, we just see like just the patience, seeing they're on Ryan, being able to take advantage of the fact that that Ryan can't really do anything, and they just played really slow to build up their ults, and then finally get that perfect engage. And we're gonna see who we end up picking for player of the match. Honestly, I think everyone in Vancouver played well. It's gonna be very hard to pick, but I
Yeah,
guess
everyone on Vancouver just taking up the reins, just doing exactly what they need to do. It's going to be hard for us to decide, CZN?
yeah. I think overall, I think Trev did a very good job.
Yeah,
I think Trev on that Tracer, even playing like a low resource Tracer, he always won those Tracer 1v1s, always won those Tracer 1v1s, and always was able to get these picks into the backline and bring back the team from the brink. And I'd say Vraja played well as also, but I think just the fact that Trev was doing that, generally with just a Harmony Orb, and sometimes not even that, where Vraja was being pocketed the whole time, is a little bit more impressive. But really good play from both of them, and honestly just really good play from Vancouver as well. I'd say Scoob was also did very well as also, and then Balak doing a lot of good things on that Zen as well. And we do have Trev in here for that player of the match interview. So how are you feeling, Trev, after winning that match?
I'm feeling phenomenal, guys.
Glad to hear. That was a very quick, very dominant match. Anything you have to say to Paris after that one?
I don't mean to sound very toxic, but I didn't really come prepped. I don't really know much about them. Ever since I've joined this team, we've been undefeated, and I plan to continue that with this team. They're awesome guys, and I think we can go all the way.
It's exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah, and at the beginning, like talking about the evolution of this Vancouver roster, you had your team had Fusion, who you guys were playing really well with Fusion, and then he got traded to Dallas, and then I guess you guys took a little bit to try and fill that, but now you're here, and that's I think you are definitely fitting into this roster really nicely. So how did that transition work out for you? Was it rough at first, or did it go pretty smoothly?
So I think it was definitely a tough transition, especially when we're playing the ball tracer. When you're trying to get your main tank and, or in our case, it's our off tank playing ball, and your tracer synced up. It does take some time, but I think right now we're playing really well together, and Scoob and I were sort of on the same wavelength, and I think you could really see it tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would agree.
those dives were really coordinated. You guys were just executing the backline before they could even respond. Your next match will be versus either New York or Guangzhou. Both of these teams looking extremely good. What do you have to say to them, and how are you going to prepare for this next
I
match?
think, uh, well, our coach, Arby, they definitely do a great job of scouting and making sure that we're playing what's meta, and I really got to give it up to our coaching lineup. Uh, but as for preparation, I think we're just gonna keep practicing and doing what we're doing because it seems to be working. I don't know much about either of the teams, but all I see is them at the top of the leaderboards, and I know that we're coming for it.
That's the confidence that you need if you want to take it all. So, good luck to you in those matches, and congratulations on making it into the top 8. And looks like we might be getting in, or I think that might be the end of the stream.
Um, we're gonna do
Or
a picking show real quick.
okay,
We're gonna
so
have someone from New York come in.
okay, so looks like we are gonna figure out who Trev is going to be playing here next, and we're gonna do a picking show here, and to see who ends up playing who for these for the playoffs. So in just a few moments, we're gonna get a representative from both teams, and we will uh, be back shortly once we do. All right, welcome back. We do have Peach here from New York for our picking uh, portion of this tournament. So, because Guangzhou and New York were both the first seeds in their respective divisions, they will now be able to pick who they want. Or New York, since they did have a better record, will get to pick who they want to play against from the two play-in teams. So, New York, between the San Francisco Shungite or the Vancouver Wisdom, who are you guys going to be picking to play?
See, this is a really tough decision. You know, they both came up through the playing bracket pretty strong, but we're going to be playing San Francisco Shungite in the next match.
Okay, okay. And that's definitely a very solid team. Like you said, both these teams looking pretty strong. And we'll have to see if they'll even. I know you guys are looking very strong as well, coming in with the best record, and we'll have to see if that match is close or not. But we are also going to. I don't think we have a representative from San Francisco, so we are going to pull in uh, Ping Central from Guangzhou though, because to get his thoughts, and I think we're going to get Trev back in here as well from Vancouver
Soon.
soon.
But in the meantime, match versus the Shungite.
You know, obviously they're over there in the Pacific Division, so we didn't play them at all regular season, but we're not too worried. You know, we took down Pacific's best team, taking down Hangzhou earlier. Just last week, we took down the second place team in Atlantic, so we're feeling pretty confident that we're just gonna win everything.
All right. Thank you for joining us here. You can
Yeah, thanks for
leave
having me.
whenever. All right, and now we do have Ping Central from Guangzhou. You will be playing against Vancouver. So do you have anything to say going into this game?
I'm excited to be playing a team. I don't know. I like Vancouver a lot. We played them pretty early on in the season. They had a relatively different roster. That's when they had Fusion. I think I don't remember it. I don't remember it completely, but I'm pretty sure it's a pretty tight game. Like it was pretty close, and I enjoyed it. So I'm excited to be playing them again. So
Yeah. So, Trev, you have been, or New York selected San Francisco to play, so you will be playing against Guangzhou. So,
Okay.
I know that Guangzhou played you guys before you were on the roster, but do you have anything to say to them going into this series?
So I heard that it was a pretty close match the first time we played them, which just means that when we do end up playing them, it's not gonna be that close. Like it's just, I know it's close, but it's not gonna be next time. I wasn't there.
I agree.
I hope I
agree.
can make the difference. And for New York, I know that they chose San Francisco for a reason, and I'll let you guys decide that.
I mean, you know what that means? That means they think you're the better team. They don't want to play you. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So that's a
Easy.
compliment in and of itself. But it looks like we are going to have two very, very good matches. And I will remind you guys of our playoff bracket now as it stands. So New York Prime is going to be playing the San Francisco Shungite, and then we have the Guangzhou Goblins playing the Vancouver Wisdom, and then we have the other two quarterfinals that were already decided. So we just to remind you, we have the Boston Revolution playing the Dallas Royalty, and the Seoul Warriors playing the Houston Rangers. So those are going to be our matchups for the quarterfinals, and we hope to see you guys here soon. You guys have a thanks for coming out, Trev and Ping Central, and we wish you guys luck in both your games, and may the better team win.
Yep. Looking forward to playing you guys. Adios.
Yep. Thank you. See you guys.
And that concludes our cast of this match of Vancouver versus Paris, and then also our picking show as well. We have some really good matches to look forward to, and I'm, for one, looking forward to it. So we'll have to see when those matches end up happening, but they should be happening maybe not this week because it is Christmas, but the next week we should be looking up to round these out. And I think we have some very strong teams in playoffs, and I know I'm excited to cast some of these games. How about you, Max?
Oh yeah, I'm extremely excited. These are the most strong teams in the entire Simplicity League. facing off against each other for supremacy. Uh, it'll just be extremely exciting to see.
Yeah, and I know we had a lot of back and forth about which division had stronger teams, and this is for not only to see who's the best in the Simplicity League, but this will be the final word in which division really was better. So we will see you guys next time with whichever quarterfinal we end up doing first. And I hope you guys have a good night, have a safe holiday, and thanks for stopping by.